Since it began in the 1990s, the Pokemon franchise has grown into a huge one. With an anime show, video games, trading cards, and a lot of other products, it's no surprise that Pokemon is very popular. Most of the creatures in the series have a lot of background information about how they act and where they can be found in the games. On top of that, there are some strange fan theories about some Pokemon and characters in the Pokemon franchise. Some of them seem so crazy that we're sure they're just theories, but others seem like they might be true. Today we will discuss the top 10 creepy Pokemon theories. But before we start, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's begin. Is Ditto a failed Mew clone? Both Ditto and Mew are truly one-of-a-kind Pokemon that are part of this brand. As a result of its ability to replicate the moves of any other Pokemon and its capacity to reproduce with any other Pokemon, Ditto is a unique Pokemon that a lot of gamers enjoy having on their teams. Many people who are fans of Pokemon are curious about its origins because it possesses such fascinating abilities. Is it possible that Ditto was a botched attempt to create a clone of Mew in a laboratory? Maybe. Even though it's common knowledge that Mewtwo is the only Mew clone that was successful, this does not rule out the possibility that an earlier effort at cloning could have resulted in the creation of Ditto. It would certainly shed light on why Ditto possesses powers unlike any others. Number 9. Is Ash's journey fake? It must be quite entertaining to follow Ash Ketchum as he goes across the world in search of Pokemon, right? As we watch him compete against other Pokemon trainers and capture wild Pokemon, we find ourselves wishing that Pokemon were real and that we too could once be a Pokemon master. However, what if Ash isn't truly engaging in all of that behavior? The concept that maybe Ash isn't really the Pokemon trainer that we all know him to be is investigated in a creepypasta that was composed by a Pokemon enthusiast. It raises the question of why Ash does not appear to have aged despite the passage of time throughout the anime series, and it proposes that Ash is in a coma and is imagining everything instead. We sure hope not. Number 8. Mr. Mimes' real role in Ash's life. The internet has been rife with speculation for years on who Ash's father is and where he might be located. There are those who think that Professor Oak is truly Ash's biological dad. If you think about it, this would explain why Professor Oak allowed Ash to have a Pokemon that couldn't start the battle after he arrived so late, wouldn't it? There is one hypothesis concerning his father that is a little bit, A person on Reddit claims that Ash's father is neither Professor Oak nor a Pokemon trainer of any kind. Instead, he is a Pokemon in his true form. That means that in addition to being Ash's mother's Pokemon, Mr. Mime is also her husband, right? It might explain why they are so close with each other, yet this is still really strange. Number 7. Cubone is a baby Kangaskhan. This argument doesn't really make sense when you take into account the fact that Cubone can eventually develop into Marowak, but regardless of that, it is still interesting and somewhat unsettling. One popular fan theory proposes that Cubone does not belong to its own distinct species of Pokemon. Instead, Kangaskhan is carrying the infant in its pouch, and the infant is protecting itself by donning its mother's skull as a helmet. This argument does not stand up well for a number of reasons. Despite the fact that the two certainly have comparable forms, in addition to the fact that Cubone transforms, Mega Kangaskhan reveals the young Pokemon that emerges from its pouch, and it is most certainly not Cubone. Number 6. Gengar is Clefable's shadow. There are a lot of Pokemon that have similar appearances to one another. Some of them appear to be nothing more than coincidences, while others appear to be too close together to be anything but the result of a deliberate action. Clefable and Gengar are two Pokemon that were initially introduced into the Pokemon franchise during the first generation and have a striking resemblance to one another. A significant number of Pokemon fans recognize this fact and devise the fan theory to provide an explanation for it. This hypothesis proposes that Gengar is actually Clefable's shadow in a more sinister form. The shapes of these two Pokemon are extremely similar to one another. Thus, it stands to reason that something is going on between them. Number 5. Is Lavender Town Syndrome real? The term Lavender Town Syndrome refers to an illness that afflicted Japanese children around the time that Pokemon Red and Green were first made available to the public. Children who played the game until they reached Lavender Town and heard the theme that played in this eerie town are said to have been driven to take their own lives until developers changed the tone of the theme that played in Lavender Town. This urban legend has been circulating for quite some time. Despite the fact that this tale is extremely unsettling, it is nothing more than an urban legend that circulates on the internet. Despite this, many continue to talk about it as if it really took place and assume that the events described in the story were based on real life. No matter how you look at it, we can't deny that the original song had a creepy vibe to it. Number 4. Voltorb is possessed by Haunter. It's quite cool how many Pokemon designs are based on other things. These Pokemon are all kinds of wonderful. Nevertheless, there are some that leave us befuddled and wondering. Voltorb is an electric type Pokemon that appears exactly like a Pokeball that has come to life. Its name comes from the Japanese word for Pokeball. Question is, how is that even possible? We are well aware that Haunter, a Pokemon of the ghost type, possesses the ability to give life to inanimate objects by haunting them. It's possible that Haunter has a Pokeball with the Voltorb in its possession. They have similar shaped eyes, and if it were true, it would fit well with Haunter's personality, so it is not impossible. Number 3. Where are the adults? The Pokemon franchise includes characters who are considered to be grown-ups. There are undoubtedly grown-ups to be found in the Pokemon world, and that goes for both the video games and the anime series. On the other hand, the majority of the trainers are comprised of younger youngsters and young adults. Although the vast majority of Pokemon fans have not given this a second thought, a select few have, and as a result, they have developed a fan theory to explain why. Fans have been left wondering why there is such a large generational divide due to the fact that the majority of the adults in the game are a significant number of years older than the youngsters. A few fans believe that the Pokemon series takes place in a world in which there has been a catastrophic war that has killed the adult population. This would explain why Gary Oak was raised by his grandfather, why Ash doesn't have a father, and where a lot of the grown-ups have gone. Number 2. Items from past trainers. Anyone who has played the Pokemon games is aware that the games always have things that are strewn around on the ground in various locations throughout the game. You'll come across Pokeballs, potions, and all manners of other stuff just lying around the globe as you explore it. These items will be in their original packaging. Who put them in that position though? One theory proposes that these objects did not get put there on purpose. Instead, they are items that were left behind by other Pokemon trainers who died while adventuring the area. This makes the act of picking up those little items a little more unsettling. Number 1. The deal with Missingno. The Pokemon games are plagued by a significant bug known as Missingno. It is common practice to refer to Missingno as a Pokemon of the bird type, despite the fact that such a thing does not actually exist in the Pokemon world. This is due to the fact that Missingno is not a legitimate Pokemon. Rather, it is an error that was made in the programming of the Pokemon Red and Blue video games. In the event that a player explores the appropriate region of one of the worlds in the game, they will come across this bug while interacting with one of the numerous wild Pokemon that populate the region of the planet. The sole location in which this glitch may be found is on Cinnabar Island, which is also the location of the laboratory that is responsible for the creation of Mewtwo. A popular fan theory proposes that Missingno is no bug at all, but rather the result of a botched experiment in which researchers attempted to breed Pokemon but were unsuccessful, similar to Ditto. So that's it for today's video. These are my top 10 creepy Pokemon theories. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what you would like to see next. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Peace.